Welcome to another episode of LifeMastery with Monica Bay, your hub for mastering every area of your life for total fulfillment. And here she is, your host, the healer in heels herself, Monica Bay.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the show. Today I have a very, very special guest, and she is Barbara Joy Jones. Barbara Joy is a board-certified family medicine physician who is proficient in osteopathic manipulative treatment and a sought-after medical expert correspondent on CNN, HLN, and NBC. And she is fabulous. She's also a model.
Thank you.
Because we just like to be fabulous around here. So welcome to the show.
I'm so happy to be here. It's been a long time coming.
Yes.
So I am so excited to be here and be a part of what is Monica Bay, which is all sparkles and pink and lovely.
Thank you so much. So why don't you introduce yourself more fully to the audience so we can all know who you are.
Okay, I would love to. My name is Dr. Barbara Joy Jones. I am a board-certified family physician, and I also model and media, just as I said. Mm-hmm. And I'm just excited to be here, and what I look forward to doing is educating the masses.
Yes.
So getting the brand forward and educating more people about health, well-being, and also meeting people that I can learn from, just being around a full network. And that's what I'm here for.
Awesome. Well, we're excited that you came here to share your knowledge. So today's episode is all about life hacks for a healthy diet.
Yes.
And so Dr. Jones has some great advice that she's going to give us. But first, before we get into that advice, I want to learn a little bit more about you and, how you became a physician and what kind of brought you to that point when the pivotal moment where you kind of decided to be a physician or to become one.
So when I was younger, my first name is Barbara. Every first generation, the firstborn daughter is named Barbara. So I have an Aunt Barbara, and then I have a grandmother Barbara on the paternal side. When I was younger, I used to massage my grandmother's feet and her back, and she says, you need to do something in medicine because you have healing hands. Ooh. At the time, being 10 and 11, I didn't know what that meant, but coming on into after undergrad, I actually thought I was supposed to be a superstar, celebrity model, and actress. So I moved out to Los Angeles at 2005 to 2007 to pursue modeling and acting, and I failed. Well, firstly, because I'm a terrible actress, so I never got any callbacks. And secondly, at that time period in 2005, when I went to Los Angeles, I went to a bunch of modeling agencies, and I was 21. So I think for three reasons. Number one, being 21, I was considered too old. They actually wanted people who were like 14 and 15. Yeah. And the secondly would be I was a size 8. I think the preference would have been anywhere from a 2 to a 6 to fit into the clothes, so that basically the woman's curves wouldn't take over the clothes, that the clothes would be able to hang on how the designer intended them to. And I think thirdly, I am of mixed race. My father is Caucasian from upstate New York, and then my mother's from Bangkok, Thailand. And so with that mixture, I don't think they knew where to put me. I think they knew what to do with vanilla girls, beautiful chocolate girls, but they didn't know what to do with strawberries. So I was just caught in this gray area, so failed there. So after that, I went back to school and graduated with a cum laude from Loyola Marymount University in Los Angeles.
Nice.
Moved back to Georgia where my family was and applied to medical school. I failed miserably the first time. I applied to 22 schools and got 22 rejection letters.
Oh, wow.
So I had to go back to the drawing board and apply to medical school. And when I was looking, I recognized that there's two types of fully functioning physicians that can deliver babies, do surgery, write prescriptions for narcotics, benzodiazepines, and Ambien, things like that. And it was an MD and a DO. So in Atlanta, there was only one osteopathic school. So DO stands for Doctor of Osteopathy. And it's basically like an MD plus 400 hours of manual manipulation called osteopathic manipulative treatment. So that's my extra thing. So when I applied to school, I got in, and so learned everything that an MD would as far as education, and took boards. But the extra skill we had was manual manipulation. So another thing that we believe in is that the mind, body, and soul are connected.
Yes.
And as the physician, the body has an innate ability to heal itself, and all we're supposed to do is catalyze it into its own healing. And part of that is using our hands, manual manipulation.
Healing hands.
So in medicine, I would treat the patient conventionally, and if I see that it's indicated for me to use my hands for back pain, menstrual cramps, an earache, neck pain, then I also utilize that too as an augmentation to conventional medicine.
Okay.
And so I perform that about 10% of the time in practice.
Interesting. So I'm interested in the, for instance, the example you gave about if someone has back pain. So as an osteopathic doctor, how do you use your hands to do that in order to assist in the body's own healing?
Right. So if a patient comes in and they have back pain that is somatic dysfunction. So what somatic dysfunction means is the patient doesn't have a tear or a herniated disc or cancer or an infection. They basically just tweaked something. Something's tight. Something's off. My job would be to stretch them out or do certain soft tissue techniques, a combination of like massage, physical therapy, and chiropractic together to help realign and catalyze their body into healing. Along with, in conventional medicine, I likely would prescribe the muscle relaxer. I likely would give them a short course of narcotics, like 6 Norco or 6 Percocet, just to help them through that painful time period. And then also give them some more holistic things to do, heat, colds, taking an Epsom salt bath, things of that nature. So the conventional stuff, plus just a more holistic approach to things and augmentation to it.
Yes, yes. Well, I love that because you know me, I'm all about holistic, but I think that Western science and holistic science, if that's the right term, when put together is really the full, you know, that's holistic actually. It's that's the full throttle. That's the full solution really.
Yeah. In medicine we call it integrative. So basically being able to integrate conventional medicine, and then if you have other tools in your toolbox, integrating those together.
Okay. Interesting. So why did you end up choosing DO instead of over the just MD?
If I was going to have the same amount of tuition, I wanted the extra skill.
Okay, that makes sense.
Right. And so there's 1 million physicians in the country, 108,000 are DOs. 56% of those DOs go into primary care, which would be internal medicine, family medicine, which I am, and pediatrics.
Okay.
So I knew that I wanted to go into primary care. That's where I was led.
Okay.
And I thought that was the best way to get there.
Okay, awesome. So what... being a model, I want to dial back to that a little because I want to let everyone get to know a little bit more about you. So, being a model, how do you? Because you're currently still modeling. You do a lot of runways. I see you all the time on the gram. The model doc.
At the model doc, yes.
Yes. So, how do you juggle? Doing modeling. I know you just do that on the side, really, right now. But how do you juggle doing that and medicine at the same time?
Through my connection and network, I've been put in contact with people who have things that happen on the weekends. So currently I'm a model bride, considered the plus size model. I'm a size 12 now in the Georgia Bridal Show tour. So there's a tour where they go to Savannah, Cobb County, all over Georgia, and we have choreography. I have a work husband at Jalen Harris, Jalen University, who's fresh off Broadway. He was Simba on Broadway. And so I'm able to do that on the weekend. So that's Sundays. So if anybody has recently got engaged, they should go to the Georgia Bridal Show, and then they have all the vendors for photography, food, venues. And at the end, at 4 o'clock, they have all, basically, whoever sponsors it, all the dresses for the brides, for the grooms, and then the bridesmaids, and the ring bearers, and the flower girls. Yeah. So we have a whole show, a whole hour show afterwards. And so I'm a model bride in that. And I really just enjoy that. And it's on the weekends. Okay. So balancing it would be, I'm a physician Monday through Friday. Okay. And if there's an ability to, then I model on the weekends.
Okay. So you get to be a little fierce.
Yes.
And walk that runway. We love that.
Yes. I love it. I love being on stage.
Yes. And you look great doing it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And luckily, as we saw in 2005 when I was at it, there wasn't a place for me. And so now they're much more inclusive as far as skin color, as far as
Yes,
ethnicity,
definitely.
cultural, as far as sizes as well, that they're looking for all types of healthy. So, I'm an athlete and I enjoy working out 2 to 3 days a week, and most of my curves come from muscle.
Well, there you go.
Yep.
And you used to play basketball too,
Yeah,
right?
I did. I played basketball in college at Charleston Southern University.
Okay, nice.
Before I went to Los Angeles after my junior year, I left my scholarship to pursue modeling and acting and find out I'm a terrible actress. It's okay. And,
But you're a great doctor.
thank you. And then so just went back to the drawing board, finished my degree, and went to medical school.
So what do you like most about medicine? The practice of it, when you're actually practicing.
I love the fact that I have the ability to, without an appetizer or warming someone up, I get to the crux of it. In my exam of patients, I get to ask them the most intimate parts of them mentally and physically, and get to know them as a whole person at their annual physical. So I don't know what my colleagues do, but I'm very, very deep, and I ask questions about everything. So just the ability to have access to patients in the most deep way, and have the ability to show empathy, and then to have a game plan for that.
Yeah.
So an example would be having an obese patient, and then when I ask questions about sexual history, that her first encounter wasn't consensual and it dates back to rape.
And that happens a
And
lot.
then afterwards, her using food and then becoming obese, having high blood pressure and diabetes in her 30s, was due to not wanting to be attractive. And once
Safety
I
issues.
ask those questions, send her to therapy to work on that, then she can lose weight and not be afraid of being attractive, and then therefore, the high blood pressure decreases, she can get away from diabetes and live her most optimal life, just because I asked that question.
Yeah, and that's so important, because a lot of doctors, I know I've been to doctors several times, and they're just kind of, okay, here you go, and then here's, something, and then go away.
Right.
Versus actually getting into the nitty gritty of those things. So I'm so glad that you're doing that for your patients.
Right. And
Yeah.
and I will say, in doctor's defense, it is difficult, because now we are expected to see anywhere from 15 to 20
Well,
patients
yeah.
a day, just for overhead for the bottom line. And if you decrease time by 50%, it's harder to get to the crux of it, or
Yeah.
to elicit that from your patients. And so it takes evolving and a skill set to be able to elicit that from your patient.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm glad you touched upon the thing about the weight gain correlating with past sexual abuse, because I've actually, in the work that I do, seen a lot of people where that's the case, and they're not sure why they're not able to lose the weight, and it's really because, psychologically they're holding on to that, weight. They're doing things to self-sabotage themselves, because it's really a safety issue. They're trying to make sure that they're safe from abuse in the future.
Right.
And so I'm glad that you're catching that and then sending them to get help, so that they
Right.
can, get the results that they need. So good.
Thank you.
Great. Why do you think it now we're in 2020, and a lot of people, I think the number one New Year's resolution is weight loss.
Yes.
And a lot of people have the same resolution every year, and then they don't lose the weight. Why do you think that people are having such a difficulty losing weight and eating a healthy diet?
I think that it's, number one, lack of education, because even in medical school, my nutrition education, I think, was maybe only 4 hours. So I had to pursue on my own extra thoughts and learn education and teach myself through reading books and podcasts and YouTube, and teach myself about education and health, because it's not necessarily touched on in medical school.
Oh, okay.
So education, number one. I also think with industrialized farming and how we want things immediately, they're
Yes.
removing fruits and vegetables away from the soil halfway through so that they can be in the grocery store. And that's, when you take
Oh.
something away from soil, it doesn't have access to the nutrition anymore.
Yeah.
So instead of it continuing to ripen, it actually just oxidizes versus ripen and acquire more nutrition. So
Okay.
it's set up for failure with industrialized farming, where they used to rotate the crops. Now we're not getting the nutrition that we need.
Yeah.
And then we also have this whole sugar-free, fat-free thing.
Yes.
And to me, when you take away, of course, we don't want sugar in our diet, but to replace it, they're putting sucralose, aspartame, aspartame, potassium, and those things are actually inflammatory. So you're wanting to be sugar-free, but then you're putting something that's inflammatory. Also with fat, we actually need good fats. And so I was in the grocery store looking for ice cream and looking for butter, looking for yogurt, and you can't find, everything's fat-free because that's what they see sells. So if I take the fat out of something, then what chemical or what did I put in it to replace it so it has the same consistency so it's palatable? What chemical did we put in there to replace it? So you're thinking that I just think that we're set up for failure, and if you don't educate yourself, what the layperson sees on commercials or on TV or what is quick and easy is what you're going to eat. So you have to be educated or have somebody around you that educates you so that you know what to look for. Because if you don't know what to look for, you'll get caught up in what you think is a healthy diet, and that is what is causing your chronic condition. That's what's causing you to have cloudy brain and sadness and not optimal health.
Let's touch upon cloudy brain, because a lot of people have that, and I think that's you can maybe speak to that. I think statistically that's like going up to like more and more people are having that, because I've seen more and more people who are coming to me with those types of issues. So what are the kinds of things, because you just touched upon that, what are the kinds of things that cause that?
I would say it's multimodal. So one would be not getting enough sleep. So if you find yourself word finding, mentally restorative sleep is REM sleep. So REM sleep is when you're dreaming. During that time period is mentally restorative. If you're not sleeping long enough, you're supposed to go through 5 cycles. The REM sleep is backloaded in the 4th and 5th cycle. So let's just say you're only getting 4 or 5 hours and you're missing out on hour 6, 7, and 8. Where the REM sleep, the mentally restorative sleep, where we mentally defrag and put new memories and put them into the categories with categorize them. If you're missing that, then you're mentally not restored, and you can't, when you go into a room, you don't know what's in there. You can't find your keys, and you're word finding. So that's cloudy brain. A second one would be that comes to mind is the postmenopausal woman. That is when you have the change of hormones. Postmenopausal woman will experience cloudy brain, weight gain, mood lability, dry vagina, decreased libido, and hot flashes. Those are signs of that. I would also say that when you aren't eating optimally, then how does your brain have the proper nutrition to think clearly? You just don't. So you're going to be cloudy brained, especially if you're eating foods that have an insulin spike, and then you come back down, and then you're just exhausted. You're not getting the proper nutrition. Like, we're using sugar and carbs for our energy food when the brain is made of fat, and we need fat to eat to thrive. Fat and ketones.
Okay, so what kinds of foods would you say are good for people who have, because as you know, we live in a fast-paced society and everyone's trying to get more done, and we have to have active, alert, focused brains for that. So what foods would you suggest people eat that help the brain, focus more and be able to perform better?
So I would say that foods that are closest to how they come out of the earth, more simple foods. If we're looking, well, let me just preface that my mentor, Dr. Ellie Campbell, says that diets for each person is like a fingerprint, and everybody has something different. So what works for one may not work for the other. But I think for a basis across the board, you want things how they come out of the earth. And if we're talking about macros, I would say you want high, excellent fat, a medium amount of lean meat, and then low whole grains. If we're going to do carbs, they would be whole grains that take a long time to break up into your system. So if we're talking about good fats, let me just tell you like the bad oils that are not good for you. So if we're going to take out oils, generally it's vegetable oil. Vegetable oil is not good for you. It's highly inflammatory. Okay, and there's the 3 C's and the 3 S's. So the 3 S's, safflower, sunflower, and soy, and the 3 C's, cottonseed, canola, and corn. And the reason is because they don't naturally have oil. You actually have to extrapolate them by using chemicals. So a good oil is something that's cold and it's expressed, where when you squeeze it, you get oil. That's like in its virgin state. if to extrapolate oil, you have to use hexane, which is that's seen in gasoline, to extrapolate it. And then to clean it up, you use like deodorizers and bleach. Like that's an unstable
I had no idea.
oil.
I had no idea.
So if you're looking at oils, you want them cold expressed. So avocado, macadamia, walnut, olive, coconut, things like that. And the reason why is because in your body, they are highly reactive and not stable, so they'll break down. And if they break down, then what are they doing? They're running around causing havoc between hormones. So then two things are not able to communicate, breaking down your DNA, breaking down proteins, just running around causing a muck.
Yeah.
So yeah, you want things that are naturally found that you can cold express, and that's the oil that you want to eat.
That's interesting. I had no idea that that's how they get the oil from the vegetables. Is they have to use chemicals to do that?
Yeah.
That is curious, because I've seen oils where it's like that natural state doesn't really have an oil, not that I know of.
Yeah.
And so now that makes sense.
High pressure, high heat, chemicals to extrapolate, and then chemicals to bleach and deodorize so that it's palatable.
Wow. Okay, you heard it here first. No more vegetable oils.
All up, causing a muck all up in your body.
Yeah, we don't need that. Anybody got time for that?
Nope.
Not at all.
We want to age gracefully.
That's right. Give me some of that. High five. So let's talk about intermittent fasting, because a lot of people, that's like a big craze right now.
It is.
If you go on YouTube, it's everywhere, and you go on anything. So a lot of people are doing intermittent fasting. I've done it as well, and it works. What are your opinions on intermittent fasting?
I actually think that it works too, and I'm actually trying that a little bit myself.
Okay.
So the thought is that you should eat all of your calories in a window that can be anywhere from like 6 to 10 hours. So the other, basically, what is it? If we're doing the math, like, I don't know, 10 to 16 hours of the day that you're actually fasting and just drinking water. And the whole point is to get your insulin level down. If we're eating often, all the time, then your body is using what you eat as energy.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to lose weight, you actually have to decrease carbs and sugars and everything so that your body actually goes and starts to break down your own fat.
It has to eat itself.
Right. And if we're consistently giving it energy, then it's not going to go into its own stores and break its own stores down.
Yeah. Okay, so that's how generally it works, and that's why you see people losing weight from it. What are the best ways to in a responsible way to eat and do intermittent fasting?
So I would say, depending on if you work out in the morning or at night, you just choose your window. So some people may work out in the morning, and you should deplete your calories after working out within 15 minutes. So then yours wouldn't be to wait until noon or 2 o'clock to eat. You would eat in the morning before, like right before you go to work, and then you would stop at like 5 or 6 o'clock at night.
Okay. And
so
then nothing for the rest of the evening.
Right. Or if you are eating a little bit later, like 8 o'clock, or let's just say you work out at 6 and then you eat and then you go to bed, then you wouldn't have your first meal till 12 or 1. And that first meal is the most important. So we always say breakfast is the most important. So breakfast is not about the time, it's about
the fact that it's the first meal.
Right, it's the first meal. And so that needs to be usually high in fat and some protein in there.
Okay, and why is it the most important meal?
It is the one that's going to sustain you through the day. If you eat something that is refined, so let's just say we eat a donut or something super sugary, that's high glycemic index, meaning that it's going to release a lot of sugar into your bloodstream. Then you'll have an insulin spike to try to get that back down. And then on the crash, coming back down like a seesaw effect, you're going to be hungry right away. Versus if you eat something that is dense with a lot of calories, but good calories, good fats, and if you're going to be grain, it'll be a whole grain that takes time, over time, for your body to break it down. That you actually are sustained through, if we're basically, when you come down from it, it comes down slowly versus being a seesaw, an up and down effect. It's better on your body to have something that takes a while and sustains you over a longer period. And usually that is good fat and a protein.
Okay, so it's like time-released energy.
Yes, versus immediate release, and then you crash, and then you need something else.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. So when people are doing intermittent fasting, what are some of the issues that you've seen that people have to deal with?
When your body is so used to getting food every 2 or 3 hours, you may go through a period where you have extreme hunger because you're just so used to it. So I don't think it's something that you hop into right away where you have a 6-hour window. You might want to start with like a 10 or 12 hour window and work from there. So sometimes when your body if you're going through an improved diet and changing things up, sometimes you will go through a detox where your body releases toxins and gets rid of things. And in that time period, you may feel like you have the flu. So during that time period, don't think that this isn't for me, or when you're transitioning through something, it's not always going to be comfortable. So I always just say, make sure that you do your best to drink tons of water and get good rest and walk or do some light exercise to assist your body in getting rid of those toxins. So basically, as you transition into a more improved lifestyle for yourself in diet, you might experience a detox period that doesn't feel good. It feels like the flu, feels terrible, and you just have to work past that. And I think, and talk to your physician as well. They can tell you if you have certain chronic conditions, if you're at risk for things and you shouldn't participate in this type of diet. But overall, in the transition, you will have a detox period, and you should assist your body into getting rid of those toxins, and it doesn't feel good.
Getting rid of toxins
doesn't feel good
at all. But it's necessary. And then on the other side of that purge is a better energy, more vitality. And because I know when I used to do a monthly 3-day fast where I would completely fast for an entire 3 days. I'm curious what your opinion is on that from a medical standpoint.
I'm in agreement with it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that we are hunters and gatherers. We would engorge ourselves with the buffalo or whatever fruits and vegetables, and then we would have a time period that we didn't eat. It's only recently with industrialized farming and with farm to table, grocery to table, that we have access to food all the time, when that wasn't necessarily the case.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
Why do we think that now, just because we have access to it, that there's something wrong when we act like we were just 150 years ago, over millions of years?
Yeah, because we weren't killing a buffalo every 5 seconds. Right now we're eating stuff all day. Yeah.
So I do think it's a person by person basis, and usually that first day or two is the hardest, and then after that, then you do get some mental clarity, especially if you're looking to manifest something or get closer to God in some way or look for an answer.
Yeah, my purpose in doing a 3-day fast, I used to do a 3-day fast once a month. Now it's more like quarterly, but I would fast for an entire 3 days and just have water and then vitamins. And I know not all vitamins are water soluble, some of them are fat soluble, so those vitamins probably weren't getting into me. But
bedpan pill.
But I would do that more for spiritual clarity. Yes. But I would notice, like you said, after 2 days, like day 2 would be the worst for me, and then day 3 would be like butterflies and sunshine. Yes. And then if I ever went, because one time I did a 7-day fast, if I ever went beyond the 3 days, it was just like heaven, and just the heaven doors just opened up, and and when my meditations were extremely potent, and I always attribute it to just the idea that as far as from a spiritual standpoint and just kind of your body's energy, it's since your body's energy is not using all of its resources to digest, it's able to then start working on and doing self-healing and other things that your body naturally does when it's not taking all of its energy to eat, to digest the food. Yeah,
I'm in agreement with that.
Okay, awesome.
Yes. If you have the willpower to do so, you go, girl.
Yeah. Well, I can't do 7 days all the time. It's like 3 day. Yes. It's difficult. But intermittent fasting, I'm actually kind of doing that now too, because of my, I call it a social eating diet, because I'm very social and I'm always out.
That's your fingerprint?
It is. It's my fingerprint. So I made up this diet, everyone, called the social eating diet.
Let's hear about this.
Yeah. So since I am always out and about and being social, I'm social many times a week. So there's always food. So I made a rule that I only eat when I am out socially. And other than that, I'm fasting. So if I have a day where I don't have anything going on and I'm not out, I don't have any social events to go to, then I'm just fasting for that day. So I just kind of take care of myself and just drink a lot of water, take some vitamins, and it's working for me.
Yes. How much weight have you lost thus far?
I've lost 11 pounds on.
Wow, I can tell you look slimmer.
Thank you.
Healthy, glowing, as always.
Thank you very much. So let's talk about your tips that you have for life hacks for healthy eating.
So if I would have to say, it would be to remove two things from your diet.
Okay.
Vegetable oil and sugar, because they're all highly inflammatory.
Yes.
Yep.
Well, now I know. I didn't know about vegetable oil before, so thank you for that.
So if we're talking about replacements for the vegetable oil, it would be, so eliminate those vegetable oils plus margarine. Don't like margarine because it's made with vegetable oil. And you can replace it with real butter, like real butter, avocado, olive oil, coconut oil, walnut, macadamia oil, peanut oil, things like that. And then if we're going to remove sugar and fake sugars, some things that you can do to replace that are stevia, xylitol, monk fruit,
I haven't heard of xylitol.
and honey. It's an alcohol sugar. You can look it up on Amazon or Vitacost, but it's has a low glycemic index. You just can't have it around dogs because they eat it, they can die.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we won't get that because I have two little puppies.
So those are my life hacks just across the board. Is to remove sugar and vegetable oil, and those things are highly inflammatory and put you at risk for multiple comorbidities.
Yeah.
And so if you remove those, then you're allowing your body to work how it's supposed to. Sugar causes your body to basically rust from the inside out, like you're rusting your organs.
Wow.
And then, like I said, vegetable oil, it's not stable, so then it's breaking down in your body and just running amok. And so if you remove those from your diet and get back to whole foods, then I think that's the best diet to take.
Okay. And then so let's talk about inflammation for a minute, because a lot of times we talk about like this is inflammatory, that's anti-inflammatory, but for the audience, let people understand like why what does inflammation do to the body? Why is it a bad thing? Aside from it's swelling, but
right. So inflammation is basically an upregulation of your immune system to fight something.
Yeah.
So an example, I would tell patients oral health is super important. Because let's just say that you have a cavity, and in it, it's placing bad bacteria into your bloodstream. And because of that, you have inflammation at all times, because as your tooth is spilling bacteria into your bloodstream, your platelets in your body go to attack that bacteria and neutralize it. So you have an upregulation of your immune system to protect you. And then my thought is that oral health is directly related to heart attacks and strokes. So a lot of times when let's just say you have a glob of bacteria from a cavity that goes into your bloodstream, and then the platelets come and attack it, if this big old glob and clot goes to your brain, stroke. If it goes to your coronary artery, heart attack. And they have cultured out bacteria from clots. And a lot of times, strep viridans, which is only found in the mouth, was found in those clots.
Wow.
I think the number was like 80% of them had something from the mouth.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So, just inflammation, if you have an upregulation of your immune system at all times, you have upregulation of cortisol and adrenaline, and you're just always in a stress state all the time. And so it's just not good. You're supposed to be able to rest and digest and relax.
Yeah.
And then your body's just always upregulated, doing something.
Yeah.
Having some sort of, there's no time to truly rest and digest. We're always running and going.
Yeah.
Food that we eat, being commuters, jobs, working 40 hours a week without a siesta during the day to sleep.
Yeah. And I know, I think I've seen some statistics that, I don't know if it's number 1 or number 2, maybe you can talk to that, that I believe the inflammation is the number 1 cause of most illnesses. Is that right? Or is it number 2?
I'm not sure if it's 1 or 2,
okay,
but
it's up there.
Yeah, it definitely is the precursor to most things.
Yeah.
Inflammation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anti-inflammatory foods are very important. Can you suggest any really good anti-inflammatory foods as well?
The first thing that comes to mind is turmeric. If there's something that
I love
you
turmeric.
can, yeah. So
Yes.
it's the food that the Indians use, and it's a beautiful orangish color.
Yeah.
And so I always suggest to my patients to take 500 to 800 2 to 3 times a day, and it's potently anti-inflammatory as well as anti-pain. So I tell that for my patients, for their gut, for their brain, for their joints, that's something good that they can take.
Yeah, that's awesome. And from from an energy healer standpoint also, turmeric, just looking at energy, just really balances the energies. So and they use that in Ayurveda a lot in India.
Yeah.
And so that's one of my favorite. I make a tea with turmeric, and especially in the winter months, I do turmeric. I'll tell everyone my tea. It's a mixture of turmeric, ginger. It's an acquired taste. Turmeric, ginger, garlic cloves, and honey and lemon in hot water, and oh yeah, cinnamon as well. And that it actually helps relieve any strep throat or issues, sore throats or any kind of cold symptoms, and then it also helps prevent as well. So.
I'll have to try that.
Those are just it's an acquired taste, but
I think the garlic's a little bit potent.
Yeah, hey, that's the acquired part.
Antimicrobial component.
Yes, but I absolutely love turmeric. So good, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, so do you have any examples of patients that you've helped with, with their diets and that you've seen success with?
There's one that comes to mind that was drinking tons of diet soda.
Okay.
And was having complaints of multiple joints that were hurting. And so I just said, hey, just try this on. Remove the diet soda and remove sugar and all fake sweeteners and see if you start to feel better. And so she came back 2 months later and said that it's completely gone, so that now she's able to exercise and walk on trails and stuff. So that's one situation where removing something that was inflammatory actually helped her.
Awesome.
Feel better.
Yeah.
I had another patient that had irritable bowel syndrome, where they have constipation and diarrhea, and the turmeric helped them. So did a triple dose of turmeric, along with telling them, yes, to eliminate the sugar and the vegetable oils, and they recognized that they were having normal, fully formed stools, and not constipation or diarrhea. And it was better for their social life, because if you have irritable bowel, you got to stay next to it,
They can't
to
be
a
on a
restroom.
social eating diet.
No, nope. So those are the 2 examples that come to mind.
Okay. Well, that's awesome. Yeah. So with so you use turmeric a lot with
Yes.
your patients. I like that the so what did you tell them to do to alleviate the joint pain? It was just stop drinking the
Yes.
diet sodas. A lot of people drink diet sodas and they think that, oh, this is better for me, and it's actually much worse than drinking regular soda.
Right.
Yeah. So do you suggest, do you tell them just stop drinking soda, period? Or do you?
Yes. I
Yeah.
tell them to stop drinking soda, but there's one called Zevia. It is a soda that is made with stevia instead. So that's on the market.
Oh, okay. I haven't heard of that one.
You can also try kombucha, because that's more
Yes.
carbonated, and that's an acquired taste as well, but
It
excellent
is.
because it has probiotics in it. So they can try kombucha. There are some kombucha companies that are trying to say that if you miss Dr. Pepper, try this type, and they try to mimic what would Dr. Pepper or Coke taste like. I saw that in the supermarket before.
Interesting. Interesting.
So kombucha and yeah.
Yeah, no, those are very good. So what does kombucha do to you? Because I know a lot of people drink that as a health drink, and it's supposed to help detox, right?
Well, it has probiotics in it, so we are recognizing as we further discover that the microbiome that we are made up, we have more bacterial cells than we have our own cells, and so having a strong, diverse microbiome is really important to help us. Number one, break down foods that our body can't break down so that we have access to nutrition. And number two, if we have a pathogenic virus, bacteria, or fungus come into our body, if our microbiome is very, very diverse, it'll break that down before it has a chance to infiltrate our bodies and make us sick.
Mm-hmm.
They are also noticing that there's a lot of neurotransmitters made in our gut.
Yes.
So even serotonin, which is our happy hormone, is a lot of it is made in our gut. So having a really diverse and voluptuous microbiome through the foods that we eat, through color, and through eating fermented foods like kombucha. So kombucha has a bunch of bacteria that are good for you. So drinking, but it also has some sugar, so you'll want to drink like half a bottle a day.
Okay.
Other things that have a lot of good bacteria, naturally fermented sauerkraut, pickles, kimchi, which is the Korean fermented cabbage.
Oh, okay.
There's kefir, and then yogurt that basically has live active cultures.
Yeah.
Those are good for you.
Okay. All right. So everyone go grocery shopping and get all of those things.
Right. So diversify by color and diversify by eating fermented foods.
Yes, yes. So dealing with weight loss, again, we're in 2020, everyone's trying to lose weight right now, especially that we're in January. So what are some of the things that that will help people actually lose weight, if you can give any advice on that?
I would say that the goal would not be to lose weight. The goal would be to improve your lifestyle for health. And in turn, because of that, you're going to lose weight.
Yeah.
And also, I do notice that when somebody takes on a healthier lifestyle, they start to lose weight in inches because they're getting rid of inflammation. So just be encouraged that it's not 100% fat. Probably half of that is inflammation. And when you stop the offensive foods, then you'll naturally slim down and you look thinner because you've gotten rid of the inflammation, and the rest of it is actually the adipose tissue and getting rid of the fat.
Okay.
So eliminating those inflammatory things. And then one thing that I do every single morning, and I think everybody should do as well, is I will drink 16 ounces of water as soon as I wake up. Because if you think about it, through the night, you get like a mucus buildup in your GI system. So your GI system is gum to bum. And from gum to bum, you get a lot of mucus buildup and things. And so in order to make that go through, I suggest like squeezing fresh lemon or lime and adding a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, and drink 16 to 20 ounces of water first. So you're basically cleansing and getting rid of the mucus from gum to bum, allowing for your GI system to prepare for the day.
Okay.
So that can be very, very helpful in the beginning, just prepping your body to break down food when you do eat it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we haven't mentioned, but exercise too.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that next. With exercise, some people just diet and they don't exercise. Do you feel that exercise is necessary as a part of a healthy diet and a healthy, just like getting back into your healthy state?
Right. I do think that diet is 80%, but that 20% is exercise that helps you lose weight. And for the reasons that they did a study at Johns Hopkins, that when you exercise, then the quality of your sleep improves by about 40%. So the fact that you're getting good sleep,
no matter what time you're exercising,
you want to make it before a 4-hour window. So let's just say you go to sleep at 10. You want to make sure you're done exercising by 6, so that your body has a chance to rev down, or whatever the word is, calm down before you go to sleep. So basically, also when you're sleeping and you get good quality sleep, you can lose weight in that way as well, because you're decreasing those hormones that cause you to keep weight on. There's the fight or flight, which is the cortisol and adrenaline, and then through good quality sleep, then you actually get that to bottom out and to not be so high, and therefore you're able to more efficiently break down energy and lose weight that way.
Oh, interesting. So the next episode that you're going to be in is called Sleep Your Way to Weight Loss.
Yes, Yep. Dr. Bruce, he calls himself the sleep doctor. I was listening to his podcast, and there was a really famous magazine who said that they wanted him to come in and do a study of the women who write the articles or are part of that, and to talk about sleep. And he basically said at the beginning, I just want them in bed for a time period of 8 hours. And they don't necessarily have to be to sleep, but I want them at least in bed for 8 hours. And he said, write down their weight beforehand, and then in 2 to 3 months, tell me what they weigh afterwards. And there was an average of 8 to 16 pounds that were lost just by being in bed for 8 hours. So there's something to be said for quality sleep and rest and sleep.
Okay, well, I'm going to start sleeping for 8 hours. I usually sleep for about 6, but I'm going to start sleeping for 8 hours. And in addition to my, social eating diet,
you have it figured out for yourself.
That's right. We're going to work
working.
it out. That's great. So, what else do you have going on, and what do you have coming up next?
So, I would say the goal is to be on TV at least once or twice a month. So that would be CNN or Headline News, Sister Circle, and local news as well as national. So just getting on there and pitching things about the things that celebrities are dealing with or things that the common people are dealing with. And then the modeling. So in a week, I'll be doing the first installment of the Georgia Bridal Show, so I'll be doing that.
Okay.
And catch me on different runways as things happen. Then I'll be in runway or different print things for. I really enjoy more curvy companies or inclusive companies, as well as eco-friendly companies that humanely source their things. And then let's see what else.
Hashtag beauty and brains.
Thank you. And just on social media. So social media at The Model Doc on Instagram. And then on Facebook, Dr. Barbara Joy Jones. And for those that are looking for a primary care physician, I see Diapers to Depends or Cradle to Grave. So I do pap smears, prostate exams, preventative exams, across the board, family medicine, preventative and then problem-based. And that's in Peachtree Corners, which is right outside the perimeter of Atlanta. So if anybody has any family or friends around the area, and I'm worth the drive.
Yes,
I'm worth the drive.
She is.
Yes, 5 out of 5 stars. So just doctoring, so medicine, media, and modeling.
Yes.
And then just trying to be out on the social scene and enjoy life. That's what I'm up to.
That's right. All right. And you guys will see her on my Instagram because she's on the social scene with me.
Yes.
Oftentimes. Yes, and we have a lot of fun.
We do. We really enjoy dressing up and going out and meeting people.
That's right. That's right. So what does your self-care look like, your personal self-care look like?
That is ever evolving. I'm still working on it, but I've realized that there is really nothing called balance. Like balance just doesn't exist because life is coming at me and there's so many blessings and so many amazing things. So it would be in the midst of chaos, finding that 10 to 20 minutes of being able to relax, pray, meditate, walk out in nature, or take a bath to rejuvenate myself. Along with there's rest in motion, which is exercise. So doing yoga or playing basketball, because I am a baller, straight up baller.
There you go.
4-5 in college. Yep. D1 athlete, basketball. Ask about me. So,
check for me, boo.
Yes. So exercise and then finding that time. Even if it's at lunch in between AM and PM clinic, I'll go outside. I have the Calm app, and they have a daily one where it's only 10 minutes, and I'll just do that. So yes, in the midst of chaos, finding a time to rejuvenate. And then recently just making sure that I put myself in bed. So I always tell my patients, put away your cell phone or the iPad and the TV and turn it off an hour before rest. But I'm not doing what I say I'm supposed to do. So basically, I'm taking my own advice and putting my phone all the way across the room and putting myself in bed at 10 o'clock to, waking up at 7, basically having that 9 hours in the bed, trying to get 7.5 to 8 hours, truly. So rest, exercise 2 to 3 days a week, and then finding that time amidst the chaos to meditate and pray.
Awesome. Awesome. Those are good things. I do want to comment on the balance though.
Yes.
Because so there is balance, but the issue is you're able to find balance, but just like the body's always trying to get into homeostasis, which is the body's balance, it's always an ongoing struggle to stay in there. So it's the same thing with like just energetic balance and mental and groundedness and balance. It does exist and you do achieve it, but you're always in a struggle to get back to it because life always wants to take us away from that.
So being intentional to get there.
Exactly.
And not just thinking you're going to get there just by sitting around. You have to be intentional and put effort to get there.
Yes.
I'm a fan of that. I will utilize that.
Yes. Awesome. So last question that I ask everyone on the show, what does life mastery mean to you and what does that look like in your life?
So the first thing that comes to mind is insight and structure. Insight meaning like knowing what you do know and owning that, but then also knowing what you don't know. And you don't have to beat yourself up for the things that you don't know, because maybe that's not your forte. So you look to your network and people around you that have those skills, and then you extrapolate and ask them and befriend them. So for me, in energy healing, you are my energy healer.
Yes,
so
I
I've turned to you for that, and that's been really, really impactful in an excellent way.
Thank
and
you.
then Dr. Una, she is my business coach. So she is a physician who owns a pediatric practice, and on the side, she teaches physicians how to own entrepreneurship and have a bright future that encompasses clinical medicine, but also entrepreneurship. And then in other ways, a personal trainer, Kirk, at Lifetime Fitness. So basically in all areas, insight to know what I have mastered, knowing what I haven't, but then placing a structure by utilizing my network of people or YouTube or podcasts or books to acquire that knowledge. And then my financial advisor, Chris Candy. So basically, if I don't have it, I know where to look to find it. So insight and strategy by utilizing people and resources. That's life mastery to me.
I like it. That was a great answer.
Thank you.
That was great. Yeah, and I definitely agree with that. And a lot of times people don't realize that you can't know everything all the time. And there are other people that, that have expertise. And if you don't have that expertise, seek it out. There's no reason for you not to, bring that mastery to your life and be able to really be well-rounded and have, I think everyone should have a team. Right?
Yeah.
Whether that's a business team or whether that's a personal life team, everyone should have a team. As they say, it takes a village to raise a child. It also takes a village to raise an adult.
Yes. I mean, from inception, we're just all developing embryos until we die.
Yes. This is true. Yeah. We're always in a state of becoming. Yes. Yeah. So I love that answer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So thank you so much for being on the show. This has been so much fun.
It has been fun. It's just been a conversation.
That's right. It's just a conversation.
Some girl talk.
That's right. All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone. That is Dr. Barbara Joy Jones. And check her out at The Model Doc on Instagram. And tell your social media.
Oh, yeah. On Facebook, Dr. Barbara Joy Jones. Instagram at The Model Doc. So TheModelDoc.
Yes.
And if you follow me, I'll follow you back.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. And we are out. For more information, go to my website at monicabay.com.